You have been marketing your business for years. You're posting, emailing your list once a month, maybe even have a website with actual traffic, but you have low sales. When someone asks you where your customers actually coming from, and you realize you have no idea. Is it Instagram? Is it Pinterest? Is it that one blog post from 2 years ago that somehow still shows up on Google? You genuinely do not know. And if you do not know where they come from, you have no idea where to put your energy next. That's exactly what we're fixing today. Welcome to Hey Tori, the podcast where I answer real digital marketing questions from quilters, crafters, and creative entrepreneurs just like you. I am Tori McElwain, digital marketing coach, quilter, and founder of the Digital Marketing Magic Coaching Program, the DMMC. Every episode, I take a real question or a real struggle and I walk you through exactly how I would coach it. It's practical strategy built for the craft industry. Today, we're talking about customer research. In What the Heck is Digital Marketing episode, we talked about how marketing is finding your people and getting your offer in front of them. That episode is very beginner friendly. This episode is for a business who has started selling or has been selling with low sales and has tossed a wide net with their marketing, but isn't sure where their customers are finding them and are struggling to bring in more revenue. So, specifically, we're figuring out where your buyers are actually coming from, why that matters more than almost anything else in your marketing, and what to do with that information once you have it. I am also going to walk you through a simple tracking worksheet and show you how to use a general AI tool like Claude or ChatGPT to take your research further without spending hours on it. Let's get into it. So, every January in the DMMC, we go into customer research. And this question came up recently in a group coaching call. And honestly, I hear some version of it often. So, today I'm going to call our example client Robin. Robin is a pattern designer and a quilting instructor with a solid following and a few revenue streams. So she does quilt patterns, she does in person workshops, and she has a long arm. And she does take customer quilts. And she's been thinking about launching a virtual membership. Robin asked me, I feel like I'm doing all the things, but I have no idea what is actually working. Where are my customers coming from? How do I even figure that out? And Robin, if you are Robin, or if you are like Robin, I love this question because asking it means you are ready to stop guessing and start building something intentional. Most creative entrepreneurs, they never stop to ask this. They just keep going. They keep posting and hoping until they burn out. And that is not a strategy. And that's what I did. And that's what I don't want you to do. But here's the thing. You probably have more information than you think. You just have not organized it yet. And that is what we're going to look at today. So, what is really going on here? Here's what I see happening with Robin and with a lot of creative entrepreneurs at this stage. They are marketing on instinct or vibes, or they're following free advice from like 10 different people, a mix of different strategies that aren't working well together. They they post what feels right. They show up where they think their people are, and they measure success by more like likes and follower counts. But they run away from their other metrics, the ones that are actually going to help them move their business forward. Most of us have no idea which of our marketing activities is actually producing buyers. We might have a sense of it. We might have a feeling. Again, marketing on vibes. But we have not looked at the data or data. I say both. Now, I'm not talking about complicated analytics, um, complicated dashboards, or running a gigantic spreadsheet every single week. I'm talking about something much simpler. I'm talking about just asking and tracking just a few key metrics and then paying attention to the patterns. Because when you know where your paying customers are coming from, this is not count leads, this is paying customers, then you can stop wasting energy on channels that are not working and you can put more into the ones that are. So remember, marketing is getting what you offer in front of the right people. We need to pay attention to where those paying people are coming from. That is how you grow faster with less effort. And that's the whole goal. So, one trend I see with my clients is posting across all social media or as many as they understand. I am all for experimenting, a new channel, but no matter how many times you post on Twitter, your sales most likely won't budge because your audience isn't there. They neglect their email list because they don't want to bug people, even though those on your email list have opted to be there. And the data shows that in our year 2026, email is still the best use of your time. I hate being emailed is the next thing they typically say. And I want to call that out because you are not your ideal customer. A version of you may be, a past version, or the taste that you have in design and color choice is part of your ideal customer. But in marketing, you're not your ideal customer. You most likely get inundated. You most likely get flooded with emails. And along with your everyday tasks as a business owner, that is very overwhelming. Many of our ideal customers are of a later generation or a generation that curates their email list and they enjoy hearing from you. So, anyway, back to our topic of how to figure out where your paying customers are coming from. Okay, I want to share a little framework with you. I've got three sources here that you can look at. So, inside the DMMC, when we work on a lead strategy, which is all about how to get the right people into your world, because because I'm not like face to face with you, I cannot look at your metrics myself. We're going to do this by having you map out your three main sources of customers. Okay, so we're going to look at three channels: warm, cold, and owned. Okay, so warm channels. This is where your customers have spent time or energy or even money with your business. These are word of mouth referrals. This is where you get in front of guilds or groups you've presented to or taught at, collaborations, quilters who recommend your work, whether that's online or in person. These people arrive already trusting you because someone they trust told them about you. They convert fast. They stick around. And for most of my clients, when we actually track it, warm channels are responsible for a higher percentage of their best buyers than they ever realized. Okay, the next one is cold channels. This is usually people who've never heard of you before, they never met you before. So this is where I would include social media. So Instagram, Pinterest, even Google search, TikTok, podcast appearance. I did put this one in cold because most of them have never heard of you. However, it can be slightly warmer than your average cold lead because they spent time with you listening to your podcast episode. But I did include podcast appearances in cold channels. This also includes online ads, such as Facebook ads, which inside the DMMC, we have an entire section on meta ads. We can go deep into that if you're curious about growing those cold channels. So these channels can bring in volume, a lot of people at once, but they take longer to convert because the trust is not there yet. Cold traffic needs to be warmed up, usually through your email list and nurture content before they buy. This can happen quickly. There are different ways to warm them up. And that's what the social media gurus are trying to teach you, or at least the good ones. They want you to grow your following. They want you to grow your your list eventually so that you can make more money with the business. And if they're not trying to show you how to convert followers into dollars, then they're probably not someone you should be listening to. Okay, so we talked about warm channels, cold channels. The last one is owned channels. This is your email list. This is the gold. These are people who have already raised their hand and said, yes, I want to hear from you. They are most likely to buy, the most likely to buy again, and the only audience that you actually own. Instagram can change the rhythm, Google can change its rules. Your email list is always going to be yours. So the first question I ask every client is, what are you doing right now? Which of these three channels are you using? And then we can look at which one is producing the most buyers. So for most creative entrepreneurs, the honest answer is something like I am putting most of my energy into cold channels. Usually it's social media. Usually it's Instagram. Sometimes it's YouTube. And they're barely using the owned channel at all. They're barely emailing their people. And that is backwards. It's not wrong, but it is backwards. Social media is typically how people find you. It can even warm them up a bit, but email is where they typically decide to buy from you. This is especially true for teachers and service providers. So, as an instructor, you're asking them to spend time, money, material, and energy with you, a trust that needs to be built. Or maybe you're a service provider like a Long Armor, and you need to build up trust to show you can be trusted with their quilt top. Email allows you to show up directly in their inbox and share your expertise and what makes you, you. That helps establish more trust and authority. One other thing to note, since we're championing a lot of email today, email has a funny way of driving indirect sales. Indirect sales. So patterns for distributors, shop or guild teaching referrals, referrals for service providers. They're not always direct buyers, which is why I suggest to simply ask your paying customers where they heard of you. Now, I'll go into that in just a minute, but I want to go into a few stats to kind of back up why I am championing email so much today. So, research with the craft industry is hard to come by. It's very expensive to get the kind of in depth research that we would love to have. So, one really valuable thing that you'll see if you go to H&H, well, at least they've presented it over the past few years, is the Quilters survey. Now, within that same event, they also have a knitters survey. So that those numbers that they collect are really important. So I want to go over a few of their key things. I'll link it below so you can go look at it yourself. But this blog post I'm looking at is published by the Craft Industry Alliance. Now, I was in the audience when this research was shown, so when it was presented. And it was very fascinating. And there's a little more detail than what the craft industry shared in the blog post. But here are some key ones, a key information for you. So this was based on over 30,000 responses. It was published in May 2025, and nearly 100 million data points were conducted with the survey design partners, which were EY, Parthenon, and Imperatus. Hope I'm saying those right. Okay, so key findings for us. So the average quilter is female, in her 60s, retired with a household income of over 75K, and describes herself as comfortable with technology. Quilters are looking for free video content for inspiration and education, with YouTube as the platform of choice. 64% of quilters prefer to buy quilting supplies at their local shop, and that's still up from 3% in 2024. While only 13% prefer to buy online. For fabric and thread specifically, 51% prefer shopping locally, while 22% prefer online. The quilting market is what they called softening. So the revenue that came in was at 4.5 billion in 2025, which was a little bit below the estimated amount. So they estimated that it would get to 4.9 billion. So it came in at 4.5. So what this means. So our core quilting audience is not primarily discovering or buying digitally the way marketing case studies tend to assume in the overall marketing world. The craft industry is different. It's different. The gravitational pull is toward local shops and YouTube for free content. So that was just a quilter survey. So I have a few more statistics for you, kind of more in general. These are pulled from a few different places. I can share my sources below so you can go and look. So email marketing converts around 5.3%, while social media traffic typically stays under 1%. That's a huge gap. Email also tends to generate $36 to $79 for every dollar spent, which is huge. Social media traffic typically converts under 1%, while referral and direct traffic often exceed 3%. I think that really points to how social media builds awareness, maybe community, but it rarely closes the sale on its own. It feeds your email list, but it does not convert well to paying customers. And one more thing to touch on for my teachers, because I think this is a powerful way to convert people to a paid program. is webinars. So educational webinars convert between 15 and 25% of live attendees. And that's compared to 10 to 20% for sales focused webinars. So teaching first tends to win. Webinar replay conversion has also dropped lately to just 0.5% to 3%. So keep in mind that we want to try to get them to show up live. And there are different ways you could do that. But the best thing that I found, and what I have been seeing consistently for the last 5 years, is that the arts and craft industry has the highest average e-commerce conversion rate across everything. So our clients, those buyers, they are engaged, which is a great point for us. And it's why building an audience in this niche is worth the investment. Because like I said, when we love something, we really love it and we go all in as crafters. Okay. All right. So what I would actually do. So here is exactly what I would do if Robin, if we were on a coaching call together. So 3 steps. The first thing is do a quick customer audit. So go back through your last 10 to 20 sales or signups. And for every single one, you can ask yourself, how did this person find me? So look at their order notes, look and see if you DM them, look at their emails, any kind of conversion you can find and write it down. You do not need a fancy system. A notebook works, a Google Doc works. I tend to use Google Sheets. A phone note works. Just get it out of your head and onto something you can look at. And then, if you'd like to take it one step further, or if you cannot find any information on them, you can always ask them. And the more personal you make the ask, the better. So you can send a survey in an email and try to make it personal for them. Like if they ordered a specific pattern, you can say, hey, I noticed you purchased this pattern. How are you liking it? I'd love to know where you found me from, or something like that. You could even leave a voice note or send them a voice note or even a quick video. And those will get more of a response than just sending an email, especially a mass email. The next thing you're going to do is track their answers. So I have a simple tracker that can help you organize what you find, which channels are bringing people in and how many, and whether those people are actually buying. So we'll walk through this in the demo section in just a few minutes, so stay with me. So lastly, we're going to look for the pattern with the highest conversion, not which channel brings the most visitors, which channel brings the most buyers. Those are different questions and they often have different answers. So one guild connection might be worth 10 Instagram followers. So when you see that pattern, that is where you double down. And here's the thing I want you to hear. You do not need perfect data to make a good decision. You just need enough information to see the pattern. Even a rough sense of where your buyers are coming from is infinitely better than guessing. Okay, here is the practical part. I want to walk you through 2 things. A simple tracker for your customer sources and how to use a free AI tool like a chatbot like Claude or ChatGPT to take your research even further. So let's start with the tracker. So like I said, I like to use a Google Sheet. So I would have a column for who they are and where they found me, how I figured out how they found me. So whether I asked them or I went back and saw that we did DMs, maybe you use ManyChat. That's a great place to check too, and try to figure it out that way. And then I would have a section of what did they buy? So was it a workshop? Was it a pattern? Did they order something? Did they send their quilt in? What did they buy? And then notes or patterns. So having a column where I could just take notes of thoughts, ideas, and patterns. And then you can print this in a notebook if that makes it easier for you. Again, I use a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, but whatever works for you. The point is really not the format. The point is to get it out of your head so you can see it. Now, once you have this filled in, even partially with, like I said, like 15 people, here is where a tool like Claude or ChatGPT becomes incredibly useful because you can paste your notes right in it and ask it to help you make sense of what you are seeing. ChatGPT or Claude or any chatbot that you're going to use is an amazing pattern recognition machine. So we're going to use it for pattern recognition. So here are 4 prompts I want you to save. And again, I'm going to have a blog post with these in it so you can go see what they are. Okay, so prompt 1, and this is in quotes. So, quote, I run you describe your business, and I've tracked where my last 15, 20, whatever number of customers you found. So, my last, let's say 15 customers came from. Here's what I found. And then paste your notes in. Then, can you help me identify which channels are producing the most buyers, not just the most visitors, and what pattern you see in my data? So that was prompt number 1. The second one is understanding your best customer. So based on this customer source data and paste your notes, help me write a short description of my ideal buyer, where they spend their time online, what they likely care about, and what kind of content or offers would resonate most with them. I sell and describe what you sell. 2, and describe your ideal customer. So that was prompt 2. Prompt number 3, prioritize where to show up. So this is where you'll enter in, I am and you put what you are. Are you a quilting teacher? Are you a pattern designer? Whatever you are. And I have limited time for marketing, about, let's say, 6 hours per week. Based on these customer source patterns, paste your notes. Which 1 or 2 channels should I focus on first to get the best return on my time? Please explain your reasoning. And then it'll break it down for you. Last prompt here is turn insight into content. So my data shows that a lot of my best customers come from your top channel. So you put in your top channel, whether that's guilds or word of mouth or Instagram or email. And then you can ask it, can you give me 5 content or marketing ideas that would help me get more customers from that same channel? I create, you describe your work, and my audience is, you describe your audience. See how we're giving this chat context so it can help give you ideas. Then you take a few of those ideas, whichever one makes sense to you, and you try them out. See if they work. So these prompts, they'll work in Claude, they'll work in ChatGPT, in Gemini, any general AI assistant. You do not need a special tool. You just need your notes and a few good questions. And that is the shift I want you to make. Stop using AI to generate random content. Start using it to think through your business with you. So paste in your real data. Ask real questions. Use it for what it's made to do, which is pattern recognition. And I think you might be surprised at what comes back. It is hard to get accurate data for the quilting and craft industry in general. And that is why it's so important for you to track your own data. Okay. So let me make this more real with a quick story. So one of my DMMC members, I'll call her Kaylee. Yeah, Kaylee. She came to me feeling completely scattered, overwhelmed. And she was posting on Instagram. She was sending occasional newsletters, teaching at local guilds and at a local community college. And she had a few online classes from like COVID times. She wasn't as busy as she needed to be. She needed more revenue, but she did not know which of these things was actually driving her sales. Plus, she was tired of overthinking and she was getting exhausted by planning out the travel and wanted to move her business more online. So we did this exercise together. She went back through her last 15 customers and tracked how each one found her. And what she discovered surprised her. So in her in-person connections, the warmest channel, were converting to almost 100%. Every single person who found her through a guild referral or a class she taught ended up buying or booking another one. Meanwhile, Instagram was her biggest time investment and it had the lowest conversion rate of anything that she tracked. These insights, they encouraged her to focus on what's working, which was in-person events. It freed her from anxiety of where her next sale was coming from, and she could focus her time on where it mattered. Together, we shifted her focus to growing for the future in this case. So anytime she goes to an in-person event, she's building up her online audience. So adding to her email list and we're slowly creating a funnel for her on-demand courses for her online sales so that when she's ready to move more online, she'll have an audience ready-made. Now, she not quit Instagram. But she stopped stressing about it and she started saying yes to more teaching opportunities. She's building up that warm audience. She's growing her email list and preparing for a more strategic move to online teaching, for less travel. Her revenue went up, her list of buyers is growing, and it's not because she worked more, but because she worked smarter. She paid attention to the patterns. That is what happens when you stop guessing and start looking at the data. Even rough, imperfect data, the pattern is there. You just have to look for it. Okay, so here is your Hey Tori takeaway for this episode. And I want this to take you like 30 minutes, maybe 40 if you need it. But I want you to go back through your last like 15 customers or signups, wherever they are in your records, and write down at least one thing for each. And that is, how did this person find me? If you have more time, implement a quick one-question survey with your checkout process, or you can even schedule follow-up email where you can gather that information from here on out. You can, again, send a survey out to those 15 people, or if you're face-to-face with them in a workshop, or if you're handing back their quilt to them, or even if you're on the phone, if, you do a quick phone call before you start working on their quilt as a long armor, if it was like mailed in, then ask them, where did you find me? And start gathering that data. You want to track it. Just write down what you know and do not worry so much about getting it perfect. You're looking for a pattern, not the perfect spreadsheet. Okay, so if you haven't looked at where they are coming from, then go back through your last 15 customers. Again, you could send them that personalized email, as personal as you can make it, like a voice note, a video, and ask them that one question each. That's your whole assignment. So you could probably do this before you sit down at your sewing machine tomorrow morning. And what you find might just change where you focus your marketing for the rest of the year. It can free up your time, it can free up your mind, and it can help you focus on where to go from here on out. So that's your Hey Tori takeaway. Go find your pattern so that you can focus on what is actually bringing in those paying customers. So if today's episode hit close to home, if you realized that you have been marketing on instinct without really tracking what is working, I want you to know that this is the kind of strategic clarity. I want you to know that this kind of strategic clarity is exactly what we build inside the digital marketing coaching program. So we do a quarterly check-in every quarter and we list out some key metrics. And inside there, we go over those together. So in the DMMC, we start every member's journey by mapping their customer sources, identifying what they're doing now and where their strongest lead channel is, and building a lead strategy that actually fits their life and their business. So we do not do cookie cutter marketing plans. I do marketing plans that make sense for quilters and for crafters and what they're offering, because the craft industry is just a little bit different. And sometimes generic advice isn't always built for us. So my members do get a personalized roadmap, live coaching every month, access to our suite of custom tools and resources, and if they want, one-on-one coaching with me. The best way to find out if this is a right fit for you is to book a free 30-minute strategy session. There's no pressure, there's no pitch, just clarity on where you are and what your next step should be. So the link is in the show notes, and I want your questions. So if there is something you are wrestling with in your marketing, send it my way. The link to submit your question is in the show notes. I read every single one, and your question might just become a future episode. So until next time, keep creating, keep marketing, and remember, you do not have to figure this out alone. I am Tori McElwain, your digital marketing coach. Talk to you soon.